Wow. This is our first extra curricular. We're outside of the season. We're outside of our normal ado. And look at us. Bruce has got his feet up on the couch.
You bet.
In his slippers. Ooh, he's a slippers kind of guy.
That's me. I'm a slippers kind of
guy. I can't stand things being on my feet. And honestly, if I was home, I'd take my socks off. But we gathered here together today to celebrate the ending of season 6 and the beginning of season 7. This is episode 60.3, 60.1, 60.2.
Yeah, 60.1, 60.2, and then we'll go to 61.
Yeah.
Or is it?
We got 2 weeks between us. Bruce and I were like, you know what? Screw having a vacation between seasons. Let's record some bonus content.
Yeah.
We figured we'd come together and talk about cards that, for whatever reason, weren't discussed during the seasons, or we just wanted to talk about, or whatever is on our mind in terms of the health of the format and the health of us.
When you first told me about this, I didn't realize we were talking about bonus content. I thought you said bogus content. So I was just going to make stuff up for the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, just like uncards and...
Yeah. Uncards and things that I made up.
Yeah, I was like, we have Temple's Treasures, which is great, but it's so restrictive toward cards that are rarely played and cards that are old. Old in quotation marks, because, 8th edition came out.
Yeah.
How many years ago? Yeah.
Right. A long time. Simply put, Temple's Treasures is there because we want to introduce you to cards you've never heard of.
Yeah.
So we're intentionally picking cards that are, much older and are a little more off the beaten path. So we thought we'd take this opportunity to talk about something that's a little more mainstream.
Yeah. But for this first one, Bruce has brought a very important card to our attention. It's glorious, and it's not glorious.
You could even
rebirth.
say divine.
It's divine.
All right, so the card we're going to talk about, Divine Visitation.
I've never heard of this card.
I find that hard to believe. Divine Visitation is a 5-mana enchantment. It's 3 white. It reads, if one or more creature tokens would be created under your control, that many 4/4 white angel creature tokens with flying and vigilance are created instead. When I saw the card initially, anybody who knows me knows that I am a token junkie at heart. I love token creatures. Almost all of my decks have some form of token creature, and the ones that don't, well, they're probably +1/+1 counters. But
Bruce is the epitome of Selesnya.
I kind of am, yeah. That's okay. I'll do Simic decks with just +1/+1 counters. Any color pairing, I'll find a way to make that.
I guess you even have, what is it? Grenzo's Gruul? Green-red? Or not Grenzo, sorry. No. Buzzbark. The other
Buzzbark,
goblin.
yeah. And
there's only 2 goblins.
Bruticlad.
Oh, yeah.
He is all about token creatures. But in any event, I saw Divine Visitation and thought the same way that everybody else did. Wouldn't this be cool in a deck that made goblin tokens? Wouldn't this be cool in a deck that made elf tokens? Because now your tiny little tokens become big 4/4 flying vig. They
become Sarah Angels.
You're getting Sarah Angels
for free.
For free.
After the first one, it pays for itself.
Right. So I started laughing, and the reason I picked this card was because several years ago on Twitter, I started laughing over the number of cards that combine well with Divine Visitation. And essentially it amounts to just about any card that makes a creature token that's smaller than one of the Sarah Angel tokens this thing makes. So I started posting one card that works with Divine Visitation every day, or at least 5 days a week. And I kept that up for, I think, almost a year. and
Yeah.
barely, and there were, I didn't even hardly touch the surface of the cards that were available.
It's funny because since then too, like it's I think grown faster than even if you had continued.
Yeah, I question whether or not if I kept it up at five cards per week, I don't know that I would have kept up with the current pace, let alone ever actually finished.
Yeah.
A couple of things that I specifically wanted to talk about with the card. One is it doesn't go with every single token making card. Now, obviously, there are some cards that make bigger tokens. You don't want to use it for that. There are other cards where you get a variety of different tokens and you want that variety.
Mm-hmm.
More importantly, there are a lot of decks that revolve around a particular kind of token. So if you've got a handful, if you're running an elf deck and you're running a lot of elf tokens, you likely have a number of cards that give all of your elves a benefit.
Right. Or care about the number of elves you already have.
Right. With this deck, those elf tokens never even come into existence. They are immediately angel tokens.
Woof.
So there are times when this just misses, when it doesn't make sense. There's a few other cards where you get a bonus as long as, according to the number of whatever that token is.
Right.
Obviously, Divine Visitation doesn't work with that either. So this isn't just straight carte blanche, should go in every single token deck that can run white. But there are plenty where it should.
Yeah, and I would argue too, like, except for maybe like the elf scenario, like,
yeah,
it's not like you're getting rid of all value. Like, you have 4/4 flyers now,
right?
Like, they are value in and of themselves, because, like, sure, you're not getting, for example, goblins, but you've got 4/4s that can fly, attack and block,
right?
And that's, I mean, the amount that I know that you have in your decks and the amount that I've seen it, it's not a card that you're going to rely on anyway.
No, it isn't. I mean, we're talking about Commander most of the time. So, I mean, this is a one of. Yeah. You're not going to build around it. So, you're going. To me, this is the epitome of the add-on improvement card. It's just going to make it better, but you shouldn't need it. It shouldn't be the essence of your deck to say these saprolings are going to be a bunch of 4/4 angels. There's a good chance you may not draw the card, but your entire deck is just going to run normally.
Yeah.
And then periodically, this card's going to come up and you're going to go gangbusters.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's just going to make it way more fun.
I mean, especially if there's any sort of, a lot of, I have no idea. I was going to say a lot of token decks use Convoke. I don't know if that's true. If I was to build a token deck, it would have a lot of Convoke, because I love that mechanic where you can tap your creatures to help pay for things. There are, plenty of, again, maybe I'm just in a 60 card mindset.
Yeah.
Convoking into like March of the Multitudes, where you get X. It's like, I think 3 of white and green somewhere. I don't know. And then X.
Right.
Or it's maybe green, white, and X. Where you get X creatures and it's an instant. And it's amazing. With this out, you get that many angels. And if you have a way to play it again, then you can use those angels to convoke more. And it's just like...
And you've mentioned Convoke.
Yeah.
The angels have vigilance.
Right.
So you can attack and then Convoke in the second main phase.
Yeah.
And so you're getting the attack and then the creatures are tapped to get other benefits. Hopefully they're tapped so that you can play something else that will give you even more angel tokens. But
honestly, I think that my love for the color white revolves probably mainly around vigilance. I feel like it's such an underrated I mean, underappreciated, really. It's not underrated. People know how good Vigilance is. It's not something that people flock towards when starting to build the deck, and then it's a thing that they forget about by the time they're finishing the deck.
It's actually the second thing I wanted to talk about with this is the Vigilance aspect, and you're exactly right. Simply put, Vigilance isn't flashy. Vigilance isn't the game ender. When you give all your creatures trample and a bonus, it screams, this game is ending. I'm about to do my alpha strike and try and finish this right here. And it isn't infect where I'm going to come out of nowhere and just blast in. Vigilance, and I really believe it gets a big reason it's underappreciated is because we see so much one-on-one play where Vigilance just doesn't get the same respect as it does elsewise.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, if you are, like, the amount of times that games have stalled out in terms of combat is just innumerable. Like, it's the amount of frustration I've ever had in a game because people aren't attacking. Vigilance solves that because, like, the thing that they're worried about is being attacked back, and if your attackers can block, then why not attack? Like,
right, and especially if your attackers happen to be 4/4 flyers with Vigilance. That tends to be some of the biggest stuff in the air, so they're much less likely to get destroyed by a blocking creature. Your opponents are going to have to use removal, and who doesn't love watching their opponents burn removal on a token creature?
Yeah,
it's so good,
especially when you can if you still have Divine Visitation out.
Yeah,
it's so easy to get an angel back.
Oh yeah,
it's beautiful, and I think it really goes. I mean, I think Vigilance really exemplifies my. This sounds pretentious, but philosophy behind playing Magic, where it's we say it so many times of just we don't like to play optimally, we just like to have fun, whatever.
Yeah.
But honestly, my biggest thing is being able to play, and with that as well is this idea that combat is much more important than people give it credit for. It is the easiest way to end a game, is combat, and not being able to attack makes your turns feel less important,
right,
and makes you have less fun playing the game,
right.
And so having Vigilance on any given creature just incentivizes you to attack. And it's funny because throughout editing this past season, the amount of times that I've brought up I like this card because it incentivizes people to attack has been so wonderful to hear, because I'm starting to realize I need to just put these in my decks more of I need reasons to attack beyond just attacking. And if the cards are pushing that, especially with Vigilance,
right,
it's excellent because it is this unoptimized but still play worthy ability.
Right.
I love it.
Yeah. So Divine
Divine Visitation. We'll be back next week with my card, which is just as unoptimized and Temple of the False Potty. Temple of the False Potty. Potty. Temple of the False Potty. There we go. That's our new name. Just take a big old dump in the Temple of the False Potty. Let's cut to the next one. See you next week. Wait. Before you go, I just wanted to say thank you for listening. You can reach out to us via email at falsepodmtg@gmail.com or on Twitter @falsepodmtg. Bruce is at ManaBurned, and I'm at Andy Weekend, though you'll definitely notice I use the podcast Twitter far more often. Now that we've got you here, make sure you subscribe, like, rate us on whatever podcast platform you use. It helps us out. It gets us more reach. Subscribe to us on our YouTube channel. Like a video there. Leave some comments for more casual enjoyment. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back with some more timeless discussions about all things casual. So come hang out, and may your fifth land be the temple. Bye-bye. Should I do my best, Bruce? Bye!